Have you ever stood in front of someone who once promised you forever, only to realize they gave that forever to someone else? If you've ever been broken, embarrassed, or left behind, but found strength where you least expected it, then this story is for you. Stay till the end because what happens will melt your heart and remind you that sometimes love finds us when we stop chasing it. It was raining when Clara Bennett stood outside the cafe, clutching her phone like it was the only thing keeping her from collapsing. She stared at the wedding invitation she should have thrown away weeks ago. Ethan and Lily, forever begins. Her ex's name burned into her chest. He was marrying her best friend. She told herself she wouldn't go, she told herself it didn't matter anymore. But a part of her, a foolish, aching part, wanted to show that she was fine, that she'd moved on too, even if it was a lie. And that's when fate decided to intervene. The cafe door opened and in walked a man everyone turned to look at. Tall, composed, with that quiet confidence only power brings. His suit was tailored, his watch gleamed, and his eyes, sharp but weary, met hers by accident. Liam Ashford, the city's most talked about CEO, the kind of man who didn't just own companies, he owned the room. He ordered a coffee, sat 2 tables away, opened his laptop, and that should have been it. 2 strangers, 2 worlds apart, but life has a strange way of making paths cross when you least expect it. Clara's phone buzzed again, another message from her friend. Can't wait to see you at the wedding tomorrow, hope you're bringing someone special, winking face. Her stomach twisted, she wanted to delete it, but instead her trembling fingers typed something reckless. Actually, I am. She hit send before she could think. When she looked up, Liam was staring at her again, curious, maybe noticing her tears. And then, something wild, something desperate took over her. She stood up, walked straight to him, and said softly, "Sir, I know this is crazy, but can you pretend to be my date for one day?" Liam blinked. For a second he thought she was joking, but her eyes, green, trembling, full of both shame and courage, made him pause. "You want me to what?" "Just for a few hours," she said quickly. "It's my ex's wedding. I just can't walk in there alone. Please, you'll never see me again after that." For a moment he studied her. Most men would have laughed, walked away. But there was something about her tone, like she was holding herself together with the last thread of dignity, that hit something deep inside him. He'd been there once too, left at the altar years ago by the woman he thought he'd build his life with, so he understood pain disguised as pride. After a pause he said, "All right, one day." Clara blinked, stunned. "You mean you'll actually do it?" "Just one day," he said, sipping his coffee with the faintest smile. "But you owe me a story for why a stranger is rescuing you from your ex." The next morning came too soon. Clara almost backed out 10 times before the doorbell rang. When she opened it, Liam stood there looking devastating in a charcoal suit, holding a single white rose. "For authenticity," he said with a half smile. Her heart skipped. She wasn't sure what she'd gotten herself into, but she couldn't deny he looked like someone who could silence an entire ballroom just by walking in. At the wedding, every head turned as they entered. The whispers started instantly. Her ex, Ethan, froze mid-sentence. Lily, her former best friend, tightened her grip on his arm. Clara smiled just barely, but Liam took her hand, squeezed it gently, grounding her. "You okay?" he whispered. "Not really," she breathed. "Then let's make them believe you are." He didn't let go. Through every toast, every forced smile, every memory that clawed at her chest, Liam stayed beside her, charming, calm, unshakably present. When Ethan finally walked up, smug smile in place, and said, "Didn't expect to see you here, Clara, and with company," Liam turned to him, eyes cool as steel. "I'm the one who insisted she come," he said evenly. "Would have been a shame for this beautiful woman to miss such a forgettable event." Ethan's smirk faded. For the first time, Clara didn't feel small. She didn't feel like the girl who'd been replaced. She felt seen. Later that night, under fairy lights and slow music, Liam asked her to dance. "You don't have to," she murmured. "Maybe I want to," he said softly. "Maybe you're not the only one who needed saving tonight." Something in his voice made her chest tighten. As they danced, her guard slowly melted. For a few minutes she forgot about the pain, she forgot about proving anything. It was just them, the quiet rhythm, the way his hand rested gently at her back, the warmth that said, "You're safe now." When the night ended, she thanked him quietly. "You didn't have to do all this." He looked at her, eyes softer now. I think I did, because sometimes pretending shows us what's real. She didn't understand then, but she would. Days turned into weeks. What was supposed to be one day became messages, then dinners, then quiet walks after long days. Liam learned that Clara wasn't just heartbroken, she was brave, funny, and endlessly kind. She learned that behind his CEO armor was a man who'd once been afraid to love again. And somewhere between pretending and healing, they found something real. But then, life tested them again. A scandal broke out at Liam's company, rumors that he'd used his power to manipulate a woman into a fake relationship. Photos from the wedding circulated online. The media twisted everything. Clara was crushed. You're losing your reputation because of me. He shook his head. Let them say what they want. You helped me remember what it's like to care again. That's worth everything. But she couldn't let him take the fall. She went live online, trembling but resolute, telling the world the truth, how she'd begged him, how he'd done it out of kindness, how love sometimes begins with one selfless act. People were moved, the truth spread, the rumors died. When Liam saw her courage, his eyes softened in a way they never had before. He found her that night at the same cafe where it all began. She looked up, startled, as he walked in. Clara, he said quietly, placing a single white rose on the table. You asked me to pretend for one day. How about we stop pretending for the rest of our lives? Tears filled her eyes as she nodded, whispering, yes.